and you're ready to apply. Use Fuse as a termite trenching treatment around structures or as a barrier spray around points of entry to the structure, such as weep holes, vents, and where electrical and plumbing penetrate the walls. Fuse not only kills the insects that come into contact with the chemical, but it's spread through contact. So one insect can become infected and spread it to the rest of the colony. You can apply Fuse with either a pump sprayer, a backpack sprayer, or a spray rig for large volume application. Fuse should not be applied during rain or if rain is in the immediate forecast. Keep all pets and people off the treated areas until they're dry. When using Fuse as a termite trenching treatment, it will have a residual of a few years. And when using it as a spot spray, it will have a residual of up to a few months. We typically recommend spot spraying every 2 months for continual control. Fuse is not an instant kill. Once the insect comes into contact with the chemical, it can take a few hours for it to die. Depending on your target pest life cycle, you may need to reapply in 14 to 21 days. Most active infestations cannot be controlled through the use of one product. Typically, you'll also need an insect growth regulator and bait or dust for complete control. For each insect, we've come up with a treatment method that we guarantee 100% to work. Click the card on the top right to get more information.
Solutions Pest and Lawn is.
So we've heard about dust a lot, right? Both of them have mentioned dust.
Hi, I'm Keith with Solutions Pest and Lawn. In this video, Solutions Pest and to succeed. Our goal is to teach you visit one of our stores and we can help you out.
Rethroid that works by interfering with the insect's nervous system. Defense controls many different species of insects, but we typically recommend it for indoor use in cracks and crevices to control ants, cockroaches, and bed bugs. Defense dust is not a bait. It has no attractants. Defense is intended to be used as a barrier so that the insects must come into contact with the dust. Defense does not spread from one infected insect to another. It only affects the insects that come into contact with the chemical. Defense dust is not effective as an outdoor barrier treatment. While it is waterproof, other elements like wind can disrupt the barrier and make the product ineffective. Defense can be applied to weep holes or other cracks and crevices outdoors to prevent insects from accessing a structure. If these are a concern, check out Phycam Insect Bait or Fipro Aerosol. Use Phycam outdoors to spot treat areas like ant beds to infect the whole colony through the sharing of the bait, and use Fipro indoors in cracks and crevices to kill insects in the channels when you treat them. Fipro is not a repellent, and it will leave a residual so that insects that were not affected will return to the site and further spread the chemical. Before using Defense, be sure to wear proper personal protective equipment, or PPE. While Defense dust comes in a bottle with a nozzle for dusting, it is often helpful to use a handheld duster to apply the product. Defense dust comes ready to use right out of the bottle. There is no mixing necessary. Pull the lid off the nozzle and you're ready to apply. Apply Defense dust indoors in cracks and crevices. Try to keep an even coating when applying to create a strong barrier that the insects cannot avoid. Apply in attics, under appliances, and in any other cracks or voids that insects may frequent. You may also apply Defense dust in certain outdoor areas like weep holes, vents, or where plumbing or electrical wires penetrate the walls. The amount being applied will vary depending on the application site, but generally you will want to apply 1/2 pound per 1,000 square feet. Keep the product out of reach of children and pets. Defense dust is not an instant kill. It can take a few hours to kill the insect after coming into contact with the chemical, depending on the insect. Defense dust has a long residual, as long as it remains undisturbed. If the area being applied to has heavy insect pressure, we suggest checking the application and reapplying every few weeks. But if the insect pressure is low, we suggest checking every 6 to 8 months. Most active infestations cannot be controlled through the use of one product. Typically, you'll also need a liquid concentrate and an insect growth regulator for complete control. For each insect, we've come up with a treatment method that we guarantee 100% to work. Click the card on the top right to get more information.
Yeah, so, and that's a good point, is we don't always apply the dust every quarter or every 2 months because it does build up. Like it's not like a spray that's going to kind of get there and then break away. Like if you do it every quarter, it'll literally like clog the weep holes with white dust. And so, and when you apply it, the saying in the industry is if it's white, it's not right. Because if an ant walks up on a huge hill of this white powder, that's kind of weird. They're just going to be like, okay, I'm not going to walk on this weird sandy powder. I'm going to go around it. So you want just little particles. So they just kind of walk like normal, and then it gets on them and they don't even know it's there. And then it gets like in between their joints and then gets in and then takes care of them. So just kind of information about it. This is more details than you will ever tell a customer. And if you ever get into talking this deep about this stuff with a customer, yeah, and honestly, just be like sounds like you got it. Like I'm gonna go find a lady. It's like it's just like these customers are also just going to be a pain because you're going to go out and like do something. They're like, what did you do? What did you apply? Why did you do that? And it's just like, dude, just let me do what I'm doing. Like,
So I pretty much know what I'm doing. I just made a little refresher course.
that's good. I mean, if you have this understanding, then yeah, you're going to be able to go like sell it because you already have like bug pest knowledge. And so, yeah. Maybe I'll jump through this one real quick. This is like,
Howdy, and welcome to Types of Pesticides, a chemical that's used on a food plant or used by man
so
to control
pesticide is
any
what
pests.
it's called to kill
Pesticide.
people.
Chemicals that kill insects. And there are two types of insecticides we're going to discuss, broad spectrum and narrow spectrum. It's also important for you to know the difference between short-term and residual insecticides.
So like a short term is going to last for like a week and then the product's gone. A residual is going to stay active for like 3 months and it's going to have a residual. There's products where you spray, like Raid is typically a short term kill on contact, but it's not going to stay there for a long
So
time.
it'll be a barrier or a repellent.
Yeah. So like a residual is insecticide. So that's kind of terms. Systemic,
Chemical
like
and dive.
it goes through the system of the bug.
Broad spectrum insecticides kill only a few types of spectrum insecticides are very selective, are best when the insects are not going to return to the area problem. In nature, pheromones are chemicals that are produced by animals to use as signals, many individuals together. Now we're going to discuss specific types of pesticides, very similar in action to insecticides and can often be rots or sometimes glycans. Protectants prevent their use to slow the growth burden. In order, desirable plant has been crop plant or desirable to control mammals and birds or fish can also kill wildlife. And their avicides cause birds to have nematodes. Nematodes are microscopic, tiny worm-like creatures that live in the soil, and these products must be consumed by the snails or the slugs to regulate the normal growth of plant tissue. They can either speedily draw moisture from the plant. All of these are used.
Yeah, so you guys can watch that when you want to torture yourself a little bit.
Ants. They're the number one reason homeowners call your business profitable. Kill ants definitively. Ants are particularly good at getting around repellent chemical barriers. Those insecticides only kill a few workers and with little or no consequence to the rest of the colony. Absolute ant control consists of using two products in tandem: Alpine WSG water-soluble granules insecticide and Termidor SC termiticide insecticide. Both are non-repellent formulations. Ants freely and unknowingly pass through treatment areas and transfer the treatment back to their colony. Alpine WSG and Termidor SC both feature genuine till they destroy the home base, containing live, untreated ants. She tested them at rates that were killed by what we now refer to as the transfer effect of treatment outside and inside to expand the transfer zone.
So, that's different types of products, so you know. So then we won't take too much longer with this, but you guys know what sweeping the eaves is? You guys know why sweeping the eaves is important?
Get rid of the cobwebs, spiders, eggs.
Yeah.
Nest that.
Because the other day we went over bugs and watched a couple of videos. One of them was about wasps, and it talks about how in the fall, in the winter, the queen will try to overwinter and go into the house and then look for a hiding place, and sometimes pop out around like light fixtures where they see the light. And then it happens all the time. Trust me, it happens all the time. Every year, October, November, December, people call us because like, we got wasps flying into our house all over the place.
Yeah.
Another super common way, I've been on the news, literally I've been on the news because people are getting hundreds of wasps in their house. And this happens every winter, every fall. And everyone always calls and screaming and stuff. 99% of the time, they're coming down the chimney
Oh, wow.
and out of the fireplace. there's a thing called a flue, which
Yeah.
is supposed to be closed, but it has a safety little notch there that it can't close completely. So the wasps fly down the chimney looking for a place to overwinter hide. They pop out of the flue and then they're flying around the house, but they always go for sources of light. So they're popping out of the fireplace, but then they're ending up the window. So everyone's always like, how do I get them? And like, it's a real problem. And so the thing is, if you can keep them from nesting on your house, it's way less likely they're going to leave pheromones that are going to attract them and mark it as a place to nest.
Mm,
And it's less likely they're going to try to go into the house in the winter,
yeah.
climb into the attic and then drop down into your home. And then you're getting, it's nasty. Like I've been in houses and there's literally like wasps crawling around the house. It's not cool, dude.
Yeah.
And like, if that happened and you don't have a pest control company, at that point, you're calling a pest control company for a problem, paying them $300 because you have one problem that you could have prevented. So it's a real thing, trust me, like all the time. So when we tell people, I need to sweep the eaves and remove any of these wasp nests from your home.
Mhm.
Now that is important because come fall, those wasps are going to do something called overwintering. They're going to climb into the home looking for a place to nest. A lot of times they'll come down the fireplace actually and pop out of the flue, and you'll get them crawling around the windows, you'll get them crawling around the house. Like, obviously, if you have kids, people call me all the time because
Yeah,
they're
don't your kids stung and anything, get stung by so many, allergic reaction, anything like that, yeah. for
that's
sure.
true. Like, I honestly wasn't even thinking about getting stung. I was just thinking they look nasty walking around, but that's true.
Oh, yeah,
Wasps
that's-
bite and sting
Yeah.
and stuff too. Like-
First thing I think is, oh, no, I don't want my baby stung, let's go outside. Somebody come take care of this, yeah.
Yeah, no, and it's like I've gone to so many houses. It is a daily occurrence. Oh, we get about 5. How many do you get in your house? Oh, we get about 5 to 10. Like, how long has it been happening? Oh, a couple months. Like,
Wow.
it will.
so normally talking.
Like,
Don't worry about it.
and so I tell them to like get a vacuum and like suck it up. And once they figure out, like, oh, this is fun, they start like sucking them up, and they're like, oh, they're still alive in there. And like, so we're not pulling their leg in. That's just one feature of the service, you know, and it's a real need because for safety and for just having bugs. So anyways, I'll stop talking about that, but I could talk about that specific problem for like hours because I've been dealing with it for years.
And then do the spiders come in when it gets cold, so, like,
100%. They come in all the time.
yeah,
And one reason that they come in is when you understand structural, like the structure of the home.
yeah, I did contracting,
So houses are,
subcontractor.
this. Houses are,
Oh, that was one of the first things I told them about. On my last job, subcontractor.
this is just the way houses are designed.
I hate spiders.
Okay, so you guys know what an eave is.
Mm-hmm.
You guys know what a soffit is? Soffit is the part underneath. That's the soffit. And there's vents in there that are called soffit vents.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you know,
Are they like little like hole looking things?
yeah, so it's in like the eave is the part that protrudes. This,
Underneath,
that piece of wood that's under there is called the soffit.
and it's got like the little hole design.
Sometimes it's got like just a bunch of little holes,
Yeah.
or sometimes it has vents in there.
Mm-hmm.
And now, why do we have vents right there? Okay, well, the reason why I have vents right there is because that's a shaded area. And so that air is typically cooler. And then what you have to have is you have to have a vent. You guys have seen the turbine vents on top,
Mm-hmm.
or you have ridge vents now these days. And bugs can climb in there, but most times spiders are nesting right here. They're laying their egg sacs around there, a lot of times, especially around lights, because bugs are attracted.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll get spiders nesting on there. They'll lay an egg. And what happens is houses are designed in a way to help them cool down, especially in Texas, because attics get super hot and heat rises. And so what happens is the heat is literally, and the air inside the attic is literally flowing out of the top of the house. So what does that do to the bottom? It creates a suction.
Mhm.
So cold air flows into the house through the soffits and the soffits vents,
Mm-hmm.
and hot air comes out of the top of the house, and that helps to cool down the house. So everything goes with the path of least resistance. So when a little baby spider hatches and it doesn't know where's what, and the wind is pulling it into the attic, they're going to get pulled through the attic. They don't know where they're going. That's why you get cobwebs in attics. That's why you're like, oh, why are there always spider webs in the attic? Because it's a perfect place for them. So they climb in, they drop down through the house. You get the little cobwebs in the corners, you get the
Mhm.
cobwebs at the top, you're waking up with all these random like bites at night, and you're like, what is this weird little baby spiders just give you these little bites, and you think it's like a pimple or just something weird, it's so small, who cares? Or your kid gets one. I got a fat one on my leg, it lasted a couple months, and it's because you have spiders, or like you see them randomly in your tub.
Yeah.
And so people think that they have like, they tell their maid or they tell us to come spray inside because they're getting spiders, and it's like, I don't need to spray the inside of your house to get rid of your spiders. I need to sweep your eaves to get rid of this problem. So you can stop having your cleaner come by every week and like clean up spider webs, you know? And so like that alone, like if we just sweep the eaves for a customer, how much are we benefiting them?
I love
I think that's just something like, so like, it doesn't look like it does anything, to be honest. Like,
Yeah,
like-
I was thinking that like from a customer's perspective, like, because when I was saying, I'm like, oh, why do you need to like, because we had that talk, you know, how it sounds like generic and stuff. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, so why do you need to sweep the eaves? And then I was like, okay, yeah, they're gonna fall on your face, but you know, like, there's a little bit more to it.
Mhm.
But like, oh yeah, you're just taking a giant broom. Why are you taking a giant broom on our roof? You know, like, it sounds just weird.
Mhm. They don't see, and like I told you, like customers don't automatically connect a feature of the service to the benefit. They don't even connect to the bug. When you say spiders, they don't instantly connect to the pain point of a spider. They're like, oh yeah, okay, spider, you get rid of the spider. Okay, why is that? Why does that even matter? You're doing this to get rid of that, but what's the benefit? So when explaining the service, you have to go area, you know, what everyone loves is what I do up here in the eaves, because that's where, you know, where you get like the wasps, the mud daubers, and the spider webs. Okay, problem pest. Now, what I need to do for you when I come out here is take a big brush, try to make it a little more fancy than like broom. I take a big brush. It's on the end of a long extendable pole, goes up to 30 feet. And we're going to sweep down the eaves and de-web, de-nest, clean it up there. Now, I'm not just doing that to make it look pretty, but I need to do that for you, because if I don't, what's going to happen is come fall, all of those wasps are going to overwinter. They're all going to go into your home. And typically they'll fall out into the house, coming out like the cam light areas or around the vents. And they're going to go for the light, and you're going to get a bunch of wasps all throughout your house.
If you've ever seen that before.
If you ever seen that, oh, I've seen that. That happens. And that's the thing is, bugs are seasonal. So a lot of times they get wasps, and then oh, it went away. Like, oh, the problem solved itself.
Yeah.
But then there's this bug in that season. Like they constantly have a different bug, and it's not like bugs are like this year-round problem. Like they come in seasons. So people just think that the problem went away because, oh, we used to have rats, but they went away. You're like, that's because it was winter and now it's summer, so it's really hot, so they're outside. But come winter, you're gonna have the problem again. And every time they come in and leave, you get more poop stacking up, they do more damage, it becomes more of a nesting site, like it gets worse and worse. And so
So 100%, real quick question. Someone said that to me yesterday. They were like, well, we had it when we first moved in, but it went away. So that was just because of the season. When we moved in, it was winter. And then another thing, in home team, you're saying there's no contract. So if he said he paid for the whole year, what is he? He's lying,
they'll get
right?
refunded. You can get refunded. He might have paid for the whole year. Some people do that. And
That was a question. I had Joseph, he asked if he could pay in full with us, and I just like, I don't know. So, okay.
just say, y'all get my office to handle that. Like,
Okay.
yeah, I'll just put a note here, and you know, we'll just apply it to whatever card you want. Just say, yeah, we can do that. Even if you don't know how, then come to me and we'll figure it out. And worst case scenario, we're like,
So if he tells him I want to cancel because you think he's in a contract, but he's technically not, his home team doesn't do contracts.
he's in an agreement.
Yeah.
They
that's what I
probably
told him.
agreed to doing it for a year,
Yeah.
but there's no obligation to stay. Like if you're not happy or find something better or want to stop, you can stop at any time. And it's easy. You just send them a message on this website right here and it's done. Like they're $1 billion company. They got like millions of customers.
That's key too, is that $1 billion company name brand thing. As soon as you say that, they're like, oh yeah, no, it makes sense. You know, because if you're bringing in $5 billion in revenue, just random numbers, but like, you know, if you were to charge that, you would bring in an extra $2-3 billion a year when you don't need it. So like, why would you worry? You know, you're not gonna worry about losing a customer, couple $100, you're bringing in 6-7 customers, you know, $2,000.
Especially every day, exactly.
Yeah,
Building the
exactly,
homes
every
and stuff
day.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just, he wanted to do it, but he was trying to like make me feel like he was obligated to be in that contract. So then I just kept saying home team doesn't do contracts, to do service agreements.
Mhm.
So then he's like, I'll call him tonight. So if I go back over there, I'm gonna just have it ready for him to switch. I'm gonna just go on the website and put in his information and send them that. And then you're saying I can just call them and be like, look, I need that money refunded since I paid for the whole year and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I've got videos of me calling home team with customers. And trust me, they're good at their job too. The people who are in cancellation
Of
department,
course, yeah.
no,
they're gonna say-
Trying to resolve it, trying to rebuttal it.
they're gonna say, you're in an agreement. Do you guys take care of rodents? Yeah, we take care of rodents. Like, I went through it and I would just have to be like, no, ask them if they rodent proof the home. Ask them if they go in the attic. Because once you're like, it's fine. Like, honestly, I don't really care if you do it now or if you do it in a year. Like, I can't promise the pricing in a year, but it doesn't make that big of a difference to me, dude. I really don't care. Like, you're not like, if it's beneficial for you, awesome. I've got some spots, that's great. But the thing is, like, I just don't want you to end up doing it in a year. And then in a year, we finally are able to check the attic just to realize that, oh, shoot, you've had rodents nest in your attic for a year now, compared to if I can get up there tomorrow and prevent this problem, we're going to prevent a whole bunch of stuff. Like, it's more for you. You want to sign with me as soon as you can, because I'm going to look for the worst problems possible. They're not. Ask them to check the attic for you. They don't offer that service. They will say, go ahead and call this local company that just does rodents to come out and do your rodent problem. Our guys aren't trained in that. Like, we're never going to look, notice, even be aware of what that looks like. Like, it's like, dude, you're just, I don't know. You're with a big, huge generic company.
And they don't treat ants, so like.
They don't even treat ants?
They don't treat the yard.
Yeah, they don't treat the yard.
That's
so,
why
like,
he has ants in his bathroom. That's why I'm trying to
Yeah.
get switch to the ants in his bathroom. But he's like, I already paid for the year, so I might as well stay with him. And I'm like, you're still saying ants. So what you just said makes sense. They don't even treat for ants in the yard, so that makes sense.
So with
I told him
that,
that, you little
with that, when the area that I have Alan treating is all home team. There's an entire block. I was talking to the guy yesterday that has ant mounds, ant mounds, ant mounds, like
What?
and just for no reason.
Gold mine.
There's water balls in the front.
Because
if you wanna grab one.
Yeah, I mean.
the lady next door literally just like constant water, so they're pushing that way. And the home team doesn't take care of them, and so I told them about, all this kind of
I
stuff.
wish I knew
So
that,
I'm gonna
bro.
hit that area tomorrow, but like, yeah, because they don't take care of it.
Okay, that makes sense. And then the last thing I want to say I learned yesterday is everything they say really is a smoke screen. Like, it literally is, like,
Yes.
because when I got to the door, I already had spoke to the husband a week ago or something. So when I get to the door, I'm talking to the wife and the wife's like, yeah, we just moved in. We don't really need it. We're just trying to get a lot of stuff going on, thank you a lot, but I don't think it's something we want to do right now. I'm like, bet. I'm like, is your husband home? Because I knew his name, so I used his name. She's like, yeah, he's eating dinner. I'll go get him. So she gets the husband. I start having a conversation with him. I redo the pitch. I start talking about the problems in the area. I tell him about what's already going on, stuff like that. Then I'm like, so all I need to get started is just your name and number, blah, blah. They're like looking at each other like, should we do it? And then I'm starting to convince the wife. I'm making her laugh, boom, boom. Then I'm going back to the husband, boom, boom, interacting with the kids. So then at this point, it's like they all like me. They're all like laughing. They're all joking. And then they keep looking at each other. And that was the highest contract I've ever sold. That was like 800. So I was like, oh shit. So I was just like, bet, like, huh?
What kind of contract is that one?
That was just a normal contract.
Bi-monthly.
It was a bi-monthly, my bad. It was a bi-monthly. Usually
So that was
people-
$99.99.
it was on 119 every other month and then 100
Crazy.
down. So yeah.
Yeah.
That was
That's gonna be the state. Like, yeah, that's awesome.
so it was great to go from I don't want to do it, come back later to yeah, we'll just get it done right now.
Mhm.
When can we get on the schedule?
Going with the comeback laters, you want to make it so like I had one, I lost out on a sale yesterday.
Man,
Because,
yeah.
well, there was a couple reasons, but like, he didn't want to do it, he didn't want the email, so I felt like he felt obligated to it, even though he did, even though I explained that he wasn't, because I didn't have payment information, I was just gonna send out over the quote kind of thing. But like, I don't know, he didn't really feel connected to it, and I was like, God damn, that sucks. But like, yeah, a lot of those like, oh, come back later, set it up so like everything's set up, they like you enough so that you can just follow back through, roll through your pitch, and then hopefully, hopefully close it, yeah. So that way you're not just like, oh yeah, I met with, your wife and you don't even know the wife's name or anything like that. Like, sitting there like,
The only reason I know the name is I put it in the notes, which is like, by the grace of God, I had it in the notes.
Yes, exactly.
So when I came to the door and she was kind of pushing me away, I was like, I don't know his name now, but his name started with a G. And I was like, is George home or whatever his name was, and that sparked her. So she was like, she made him get from the kitchen table because he was eating dinner. I was like, never mind, I'll leave. And she was like, no, I'll go get him. And so because I knew his name, she felt like, okay, this guy knows us. And then when he got to the door, me and him had really good chemistry. So it kind of just all like flew in. Like, I feel like the only issue was they just both weren't convinced. That's all it was. Like, they just weren't, I guess they didn't trust me. But once I like kind of broke that barrier, like then they were like, okay, we could do this. Like,
I've run into that too. That's like, so you know how you do like the hey, how's it going thing, right? I flip that intro because to me, when I do it, because I did it over and over, it sounds so robotic coming from me. So I'm just like, how you doing? How's it going? Like, just something that's more natural. So it gives off like a more natural vibe instead of like, oh, this is a generic salesman type of vibe. So, because it gets people to trust you a little bit more, but it's also more friendly on the doors. So like, you get more of a natural reaction from them instead of like, oh, it's another sales guy, here we go, because like the area I'm working, I'm getting every kind of solar guy under the sun. So like they're running into just, sales over and over and over. So you gotta have something like pops. I didn't even separates you a little bit, yeah. So, but might be what it be.
That's awesome. Yeah, definitely figuring out your own style and everything.
Yeah.
I was talking with Ryan and he was like, that's weird. What's that? He was like, I don't do icebreakers. He's like, I don't do icebreakers at all.
I get straight to it.
He's like, I just go straight to the business. He's just like, I'm just like, let's get it done. Cool, bye. Like, cause it is a mad dash for money out there. Like, I look at his knocks and he is like driving 50 miles a day, just like all over the place. Cause he just goes and like he's been doing it long enough that he knows the progression of the neighborhoods. And he's like, oh, finally they moved in. And then he goes and hits it. And he's like, I got one more spot left. I got to get going. Like, and just like very quick with it.
Because it has to be an impulse buy, right? Like that's what makes them buy right now.
He creates a lot of urgency because like I got one more spot I got to fill up and then I'm out of here. So that's one reason he like does it and then he leaves the neighborhood because he's like, I'm leaving. And then he goes to the next one.
That's actually,
And he'll pull up, like jump out, knock on the door. I gotta get going, but I gotta fill this spot up now or never. Let's do this. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay. And then I'm leaving and then going to the next one. It's just, he found something that works for him. And you guys got to find something that kind of
I was gonna say everything worked different. Like for me, watching that video of Kenny's icebreakers, it really did help. I got that switch over because I only watched the first video. I applied what he said and it broke their barrier. They were like so undefensive that they listened to everything I said. He said, you'll know when you got them because they start leaning on the door. That's exactly what they did. Then the wife, I had her involved as well. Then the kid, I had her involved as well. So it was kind of like that situation where you had both of those Indians ready to give you the card. That's how it was. They were arguing like, which card do we want to use? And like I said earlier from the one from yesterday, how the wife told me she didn't want to do it. She gave me her credit card though, instead of the husband. So it's kind of like, I'm just realizing like everything's really a smoke screen. It's just like you got to find a way to break that defense mechanism that they have. It's almost like an animal or something. Like they know that this is what they got to do to get you to say this. So they say that. That doesn't mean that's what they mean. It's just a way that they get you out of their face. It's kind of just specifically just a defense mechanism. Because if I would have took that as, and she's not interested, I would have just left. But I kept going, kept rolling there. I addressed what she said, then said what I was gonna say, and then told her why they should do what I said. So it wasn't like I was ignoring what they're saying or what was important. It was just resolve is closed. That shit is crazy. Like it was just like, okay, but boom, next. Like, this is why you guys need to do this, because do you guys want to be like her? Do you want to wait until this? And then by this, it's gonna be an issue. And so that Pest video that we watched yesterday definitely helped because I was able to go more in depth about problems that people were seeing in the neighborhood and how to prevent those issues that could become more of a financial problem in the future that they're not gonna want to address. So why don't you do it now?
Mhm.
And I think my favorite line is, okay, no problem, you don't have to get it. But if I'm treating everyone else on this block, where are the bugs gonna go? There's really no place for them to go but here.
Yeah,
So if you don't want to defend yourself, fine, you can go to Home Depot, get something. I'm pretty sure most of their stuff is diluted though. So when you spray, you're gonna have to get something for every specific pest, and it's not guaranteed that it's gonna kill them. It might push them away, but that doesn't mean they're gonna disappear.
Mhm.
So at that point, when I kept punching them with, this is what's gonna happen whether you go with me or not,
Mhm.
and I got everyone on this block but you, that kind of felt like, dang, we might as well just get it done because we don't want them here.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Even that lady that was telling me she didn't have the money and she got a divorce and all this, and then she saw some mouse poop and immediately now she wants to do.
Yeah, now she's got money.
Now she's got money. Now and charged her more for that because you didn't get it when I told you to get it. So now you have to pay a little bit more a month. Yeah. So it's cool. Yeah, it's fun to to know it, and then now that you know it, it's so easy to apply. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
When you get like a lot of people that are like, oh, I don't want to do this now, so then you're like, okay, well, you're still gonna have issues no matter what you do. So then you're just like running that over and over and over again. And then you also run into the people that are like, oh no, I want to take care of, I'll do this myself.
Yeah.
I'll take care of this myself, but I'm a procrastinate it till later. And it's like, well, I could do this for you, so you're not spending $400 or $500 just to maybe solve the problem and spending 4 hours of your time every day for a month.
And you got work.
And you got work, you got kids, and then
Life's so busy. I mean, you don't got time to be spraying your own bugs. I'm like,
definitely not. Well, I mean, I can, but time is, of the essence, and nobody has time these days to make extra time. There's always a phrase that always comes to mind is there's always something else to do. There's always something. You hear so many people say it.
well, and that's the thing, like down here, like that maid, like you were talking about that, seeing housekeepers and seeing maids so popular down here
mhm.
blows my mind.
Really weird.
Because I'm not from here.
Saying
So, like,
maids and
seeing
housekeepers.
all these housekeepers, when it's like you got a stay-at-home wife and then you're paying for the housekeeper, it's
They
like,
pick up the dog poop, they clean the house.
Yeah.
They like.
We're playing the cobwebs.
Nobody is doing
Yeah.
it themselves, like.
yeah,
Yeah,
No.
everybody's trying
Maybe
to.
in Austin, maybe Houston, but everyone's like.
it's a
Where
different
you live? Where do you-
Seattle.
No,
Where
where
you
you
from?
from?
Oh,
He's
I'm a
Mesquite.
Mesquite.
Oh, so you're from.
So I've got like high-end, that traditional style. So like husband works, wife stay at home.
And does everything.
I got the working
Yeah.
class people, so both of them either work or
Yeah.
most of the time, both of them work. Bro.
Yeah.
Like basically middle class.
Well,
They
that's-
still are gonna hire them out.
Yeah,
Of course,
yeah,
I was gonna say
that's a good one to push, like the urgency vibe hit between, especially when daylight savings hits between 5 and 9, because then they'll be home and you can push that urgency so that, I know you're not home, I know he's not home, I can just take care of this, bada bing, bada boom, instead of like, oh, well, your wife's home, so maybe she could take care of it, or you could guys hire like some big boy company that's gonna take 10-15 minutes. Because the other one that I run into a lot is like, you'll knock the door, you'll hit the ring doorbell, and the husband will answer on the ring. And he'll
It's standing right there looking at you, and she's gonna say something, and he's like,
he's like, no, I don't need
what are
it.
you doing here? Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And I'm like, yeah, damn.
I ran into a couple of those where the wife was looking at me eye to eye, but he's talking
Yes.
through the doorbell,
Yeah.
so I can't address her. I have to listen to what he's saying. And
Yeah.
He's like, no, don't talk to her. What are you talking about? Like, why are you here?
Yeah.
No, we're good. Bye.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
you know what I mean? So I'm like, dang.
And it's, I don't know, it's
And
like,
he's not trying to hear nothing.
No, because it's like,
So-
it's just
Yeah.
offensive. Yeah, because she would have talked to me, so that's the
Yeah.
issue. He
Yeah,
doesn't want her to like actually buy into what I'm saying, so he's gonna stop it.
yeah.
But I have gotten an appointment like that, like through the doorbell, like the
Yeah.
guy stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was just telling him while I was here, I was like, look, I'm the area manager, I already do your neighbors. When are you home? He said, okay, well, I don't get home till Friday, so come Friday at this time.
Oh,
But he did stop me when the wife came to the door,
yeah.
and then he stopped, like, no. What are you, why are you talking to her? Like, talk to me. And then from there, I kind of just told him while I was there and
Yeah.
kind of was just like friendly about like, no, I'm just taking care of them already. So if you want to know what we're doing, cool. If not, I never told him I was doing pest control. I just said, I'm taking care of a couple of your neighbors. I'm
Yeah.
already doing her. If you'd like to know what I'm doing, what's a good time you be home? And he told me. So I don't have to go, because if I say pest control, that's an issue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nah,
like,
it's
no,
not.
no, like.
We already got it or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I just said, I'm just the guy that's over here. Oh, when you get a chance, I'd love to have a conversation.
Well, and that's
Yeah,
the thing too,
okay.
like,
That's what's up.
when I was doing solar, like trigger words like solar, pest control, anything that's like a name drop, it can immediately trigger it. So like if
Wow.
somebody hears solar, they'll be like, nope, not interested, you know.
Yeah.
If they hear pest control and they like do it themselves or don't want to do it, it will trigger them, you know, any of those little things can just like be like a trigger for like, no, not interested, closed door, or just like a no, thank you, you know. Like any
Yeah.
little thing. And
That's why I don't like, if I'm getting a lot of kickback in the beginning, I don't say pest control. I just say, hey, how you doing? Little icebreaker. I'm sure you know Nancy next door. I'm gonna be here with a lot of your neighbors. And then I can start to mention the bugs, but I don't say pest control. That's a, you know, like I said, trigger word.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because by the time, like you said, you will want them to like you before they even know what you're doing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Instead of knowing what you're doing before they like you, because then it's like they don't even give you a chance.
You get
They're like,
categorized like that.
yeah, they're just like, get off the door, you know, I know you're a salesperson, we don't want it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like build
so-
rapport, justify your presence via name dropping, then talk about the situation, like, and a reason for it. Well, it's
Mhm.
the construction. You know how we're getting a lot of construction? Yeah. So, okay, that's why we're getting the mice. Oh, okay, so it all like leads up, and then they're like, and then you're like, I'm the area manager for Romex, and then they're like, oh, okay, like, so, good stuff. I don't know, you guys learn a lot. I just like that because it's fun to see you progress like this and like, oh, I learned something, I applied it, and I saw the benefit. Like I trained, my pitch got better, your closing ratio is getting better. Like the more you train, the higher your closing ratio gets, and the higher your closing ratio gets, the more sales make, the more fun it is, and then the more time you put on the doors, like you're getting there. Just need to keep putting the wood in the fire. The more you put the wood in the fire, the more.
I'll get out of there.
Yeah. So, we're gonna jump into just new start training stuff. So, I mean, you guys are good. What are goals for today?
3.
You can do 3. I know
I
you
should
can.
close Craig, his friend, so that's 2. And then another one, same area.
And the key to sales is just always be dumping people in the front of your pipeline. Like you have those follow-ups and those are good. Put another 20 people in your pipeline because like those 2, maybe 1 will go. It's the same like with recruiting. Like you got to put 100 people in your pipeline to have 10 people schedule an interview, to have 2 people show up, to have like, and if you get upset about someone not.
Where were the 2?
Hey, you guys are crazy. Like you guys are just 100 for 100. Like I don't know. But you can get upset when you lose customers or people end up saying no, but don't even let it phase you because you're like, oh, good, I got so many other people to worry about. Like you're just constantly bringing them in and stuff like that. So, like, just they're like, I got, go knock 100 doors, and then those are just a cherry on top. Like don't bank on those because then like you're not putting in more work to bring more people in the pipeline. And
well, like that's the fun thing. Like you'll run into people that like have already scheduled, but like we're gonna go or want to go with you, just like the presence on the door and showing them like how many other doors are out there kind of blows their mind. And I love just like showing people that because they're like, oh my gosh.
Showing them what? Like,
So like, our map, like Craig, he's lived here 30 years. He's lived here his whole life. I showed him that map. He's
Are they
literally
existing
never
customers?
seen anything like that.
I
Like,
mean, of the existing customers?
no, so the actual map, like I'm like in my area, there's an area that's supposed to have 2,000 homes.
damn.
Yeah. So like I was showing him.
What are the yellow markers?
Those are all my callbacks. So like
Okay.
sold homes, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Over here. That right there is supposed to be 2,000 homes.
Oh, okay.
And so like
This?
yeah, like that's building, all that's building over here. Down here's building, all that's building, that entire square is building.
So it's all potential.
It's
you're looking at.
insane. Yeah.
there's too much potential. So Braxton works over in Tyler, but for some reason he's been knocking over here for the last little while because I think he sees like there's so much right there.
Where's he been knocking specifically?
He's been down south, kind of like Cedar Hills area.
Okay.
There's just so much new build stuff. Like
Yeah. Well,
Like,
like you got Crandall that's building up, you know, you're gonna push down towards Ferris. Ferris is still building up more.
This is where, like, I'm on the.
there's,
Ferris is straight south, I think.
Paris,
Yeah.
Texas, yeah.
there's 40,000 new houses every year in DFW.
Oh, snap.
Like, that means, so.
I mean,
I just want my piece of the pie. You know?
I was out there just like closing a sale like every half hour and it was like easy. And I was like, man, like, and then I just looked at it and I was like, there's so much out here. That's when I was like, I gotta like figure out how to get some other people going after this. Cause like,
It's not enough. You just can't get it all. Yeah.
you can't get it all.
yeah, that's the thing too, is like, you'll have home team, you'll have white knight, like you'll have people. I think White Knight has that thing, the new move-in thing that you were trying to implement. I think they have some tech like that.
Oh,
What do you
Because,
mean?
like, I was not in an area for like 2 days, and then I popped back in, and like it was a house that just sold, they just moved in White Knight.
Whoa.
So I think that they have something
Try
like
to
that.
find that person because I'll tell you, like, he will come work with us if we can get hold of him because he's working for White Knight, which means he can maybe recruit 2 people.
Well, yeah,
Like White Knight can't grow exponentially. White Knight's like a smaller company. If he worked with us, he could sell way more with way more competitive like pricing and service. And he could recruit a bunch of people. And he's just been doing what Ryan's been doing. He's just kind of been keeping an eye on it
that's, yeah,
until
exactly.
he's got it lined up to where he like every day he's just like follows his schedule, like follows up with people, like hits
Well,
the
I'm
new
hoping to
goods.
find them in the end of March, because that I have a new area where like it's closing in the end of March. And I was talking to the contractor, he told me about that, so I'm hoping he tells them too, so that I can run into them, see what they are, you know, what they do, all that kind of stuff.
That is something you can do is talk to, like, I've got this guy who does the final inspection on homes.
Yeah,
And I was like, text me when the final inspection's done and like the move-in date. I know Ryan does that too. He'll talk to like the builders or people in neighborhoods and be like, text me when someone is moving in and like, let me know the move-in date. So then he's just going around and he's like, I'll give you $25 for every one. And it doesn't work with everybody, but finding someone who actively gets going and show them the money too. Be like, I'll give you $100 right now just to give me the first one. And then then start showing the money. And then he's like, oh, I do 5 of these a day. I'll just text him these new move-ins and like, what's it to me? I'll just, but if
I'm
it
about to
makes-
say, if you don't get it, I still get paid. Yeah. So I just text them. So we're not losing nothing. Yeah.
So building those like networks and relationships and then getting referrals is huge too. That's the thing is like, you can just get a customer and be like, you live on the street, text me when somebody moves in. Like, just, I'll give you $25 referral bonuses. Like, you know, when people are moving in, like, so text me and you almost got like a spy on the street, like, oh, someone just moved in, I want my $25.
Yeah, I know.
Just adding that to the end of your pitch, because if you're not looking for that opportunity, then you're never going to get anything from it. Like, asking you shall receive, like, knocking you shall find, seeking it shall be given unto you. Like, you got to go after it and like look for it. So you guys got it. I got no worries. So cool.
with the attic, one last question with the attic.
Mhm.
So like when we mentioned that, do you need to put that in notes for them to check the attic, or
Yeah.
is it's
I don't think they do it every time. So if
Okay.
like it's an actual problem, like I did one yesterday and they're like, oh yeah, we heard something a while ago. Like put check attic and then they'll just pull down the attic door and pop up there, like look around for signs of stuff. If it's something bad, then they'll send the other person out to do an even deeper one.
okay?